The Marino Show.
I am so excited to have our guest today. Chris Rowan is the owner of the Buffalo Bill House that you saw in the Silence of the Lambs film. It was featured prominently in the finale of the film, and Chris has turned this home really into a tourist attraction. A lot of cool things going on with this project. Chris, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thanks for having me on your show, David. I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to a good chat, tell you guys a little bit about Buffalo Bill's house and how we do things around here.
You actually bought this home a few years ago and you turned it into what it is today. But can you talk to me about initially how this came to be for you and ultimately what it's turned out to be?
It was actually back in October of 2020. I found myself sitting home as it was still that time during the pandemic, and there wasn't a whole lot going on. I make a living in the film production business for a living as an art director and a prop stylist. And I work on movies and TV shows and commercials, things of that nature. Basically, do props, build the sets, make things look good for a living. And but I'm a lifelong horror fan and always loved horror in general, specifically. So basically how it happened was I read an article that some horror website that Buffalo Bill's house went for sale. And, being a film location junkie and always wanting to see where movies were shot, I ultimately decided I wanted to come see the house in person and see if I could, turn Bill's house into something of my own.
And this is located in Perryopolis, Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah, so Perryopolis is a small, tiny community. It's about 25 miles or 30 minutes from the city of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's our nearest city. And Silence of the Lambs was actually shot almost exclusively in the Pittsburgh region. Not a lot of people know that, but if you look closely at the film, a lot of the big filming locations like the Hannibal cage sequence where Hannibal escapes and murders the police officer. That was done at a military museum in Pittsburgh by the name of Soldiers and Sailors. And just the whole region is filled with Silence of the Lambs filming locations. So that's where we're located. Ultimately, I thought of an idea about, creating an exclusive experience where people could rent out the home basically in an Airbnb style format, where you rent the entire home. It's not a bed and breakfast. You don't stay with other groups. We only book one party at a time. So it's always private. But I wanted it to create an experience where people could really set foot where, such an iconic film was shot, The Silence of the Lambs. And the home itself is a Queen Anne Victorian style home. That's the architectural style. It's built in 1910, and it's a gorgeous home on 2 acres of riverfront property. And the idea really became to create a hybrid. I didn't want it to be something that was, people ask, oh, is it a haunted attraction? Like, are there actors? Do people jump out at you? Or like, and I love that stuff. I go to it all the time. Every Halloween, I go to, dozens of them. I love that stuff. But I thought about Bill's being a little different. I basically wanted to keep the home traditionally Victorian in its aesthetic and its design by utilizing furniture and period pieces so that traditionally it feels the right vibe. But then I wanted to bring in and pay respects to Silence of the Lambs by creating certain sets that were obviously very famous from the film, like Buffalo Bill's workshop of horrors, the sewing room where Bill does his famous dance, and the well, and stuff like that. So, really it's a hybrid of both of those concepts.
Was there a lot of remodeling work that had to be done when you did purchase the home?
The home was actually in really decent shape, for a 113-year-old house. It could certainly be in a lot worse shape than I found it in. There were some upgrades that needed to be done that, I definitely spent almost a full year doing before physically opening the house. And, ultimately, taking that year to decorate, do some renovation, get it to be just right to where I thought, it's finally ready for guests to experience, to come for an overnight stay or a guided tour. And then basically we opened up Labor Day weekend, 2021. So basically we've just passed our 1 year anniversary of being open.
It had to be kind of like a kid in a candy store when you actually saw this home up for sale, and then now you own it, and people can come and experience it.
Yeah, I mean, it really was. I think you hit the nail on the head. It was like being a kid in a candy store. I mean, being passionate about horror in general. A fan first before anything else, and I think my background as a fan, and then my professional background, doing props and designing sets for a living, both really came together to kind of create this really unique hybrid that is Buffalo Bill's house. And I'm really happy to report that in the year we've been open, we've gotten a ton of 5-star reviews. Guests leave us really, really wonderful things, and I'm truly humbled by one particular fact that they point out in a lot of their reviews, and that's the attention to detail in the house. Generally speaking, guests say that, wow, like you could go into every single room and there's just so much attention to detail. There's so many little artifacts that all correlate back to the film, and it's so tastefully done. And I really appreciate that, because it was my goal to create this experience where people could basically step inside one of the most famous thrillers of all time, and then retrace the footsteps of their favorite characters like Clarice and Bill, by recreating the scenes in the house where they were actually shot.
When you talk about the different kinds of memorabilia that people will see if they stay there, what are some of the examples of that, and what have you really done to try to capture the essence of the film?
Yeah, so in addition to like the period piece furniture, which of course outlines the house as a corollary to the age of the home, you'll see a ton of artwork on the wall. It's all Silence of the Lambs inspired, which is really beautiful. They're actually all submissions from artists from around the country and also around the world. Artwork of Bill, artwork of Clarice, Hannibal. We actually have 3 real death's head moths. The death's head being, of course, the iconic creature that was chosen to signify Bill's metamorphosis as a character. And we also have a life-size Hannibal animatronic that delivers lines from the movie, which is really fun. He's a big photo op for fans who come and stay. It ends up on a lot of Instagram pictures and stuff like that. But I would say memorabilia-wise, we also have 2 actual screen-used set dressing pieces, pieces of wallpaper that were up in this house 30 years ago. Shortly after buying the home, the previous homeowner, who was not the person I bought it from, but another homeowner who was here during the filming, they had a bunch of curios that production actually left behind and she had held on to for over 30 years. And she gifted those to me to display in the house. So there are some screen accurate wallpaper from the house, an original call sheet from filming that took place here, a location agreement, as well as blueprints of the actual schematic of the house before they actually shot here. The icing on the cake is the basement. Everyone always asks about the basement. Does it look like it? Like, what does it look like now? So with my background of, propping and stuff for a living, I went ahead and recreated the actual, what I dubbed it, the workshop of horrors. That's what, I decided to affectionately call it, and that's Bill's sewing room. And we'll definitely see that before this chat's over, and you'll see, the singer sewing machine and the disco ball and the mannequins, and it's a whole lot of fun. So we keep Bill's kimono and robe down there. People get to put it on, recreate the famous dance sequence, get your tuck on, as we say here at Buffalo Bill's house, and we just have a lot of fun with it, and of course, the well is our brand new thing, and brand new part of our immersive experience. And I feel very fortunate that, creating this concept. So of course, the well was not shot at this house. A lot of fans maybe think it was, but some people don't know, but it was on a sound stage due to the logistics of it, obviously. And, it had been a passion of mine that I wanted to install a permanent installation, a replica of the well, so that people could get in it and have an immersive photo op. And I'm happy to report that by proxy of being in touch with legendary horror special effects artist Tom Savini, who's worked on, Dawn of the Dead and Friday the 13th and many other notable features. He was willing to be involved in the project, and actually his school, which is based right here in Pennsylvania, about 20 minutes from the house, was able to work together and build that.
How did you end up getting Tom Savini to take part in this project? Did you know him from some of your production work, or how did you end up getting him to be a part of this?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I do a lot of movie conventions, or cons, to promote the house, and I have my vendor booth and set up, and I have a tour video that plays, and I sell some merch, t-shirts. We have our own Buffalo Bills body lotion. Of course, you got to have lotion if you're doing Buffalo Bills house, and I get the word out and stuff like that to movie fans. But I met a girl who became a friend of mine. Her name's Allie, and she works at Tom Savini's special effects makeup program. The school is Douglas Education Center in about 20 minutes away from where Bill's house is located. And if you want to make monsters professionally for a living, you can go to his school and learn a whole curriculum about how to do that, professionally. So we had met first, and I floated the idea, and she put me in touch with Tom, and Tom was able to come see the house, and talk to him about this is what I'm looking to do, and he basically thought it was a really cool idea, and then by proxy of partnership with the school, was able to get it done.
What have people who have stayed there said about the experience? You mentioned earlier that you've gotten a lot of great reviews from people who have come to enjoy the Buffalo Bill house. What have you heard directly, though, from some of those people?
Well, in our guided tour format, when I actually conduct the tours, it's a 2-hour tour. You get to see the house and you learn the history of the home and recreate the scenes for yourself. But the reviews I read online are great, but what's really amazing and probably the most meaningful to me is when I take people on the tour and I get to see their reaction to the basement, to the workshop, to the well, and I, with my own eyes, get to see, what this experience means to them, and generally their eyes light up and they're having fun, they're snapping photos, they're putting on Bill's kimono, and getting the shots by the sewing machine, or jumping in the well with our little Precious, our little stuffed animal, and they're just really having fun with it, and seeing that with my own 2 eyes, and then hearing what people say, like, wow, this is so great. This is, I knew this was here before I came, but it's even better than I thought it would be, and that to me is the most meaningful. So I would definitely say that's the most important thing.
I think that horror fans are a really special bunch. They're very passionate about the genre. But I also think that these films, for myself and a lot of other people like yourself, I'm sure that love them, they bring back memories. And I know it sounds funny, but like childhood growing up, seeing these films with either family members or other people, that's how I identify, like Friday the 13th. Me and my dad used to watch those, and he loved Jason and would laugh at him. My dad is
Same here.
Yeah, my dad has since passed away, but for me, it's a way that you think back, like nostalgia, connecting. And I feel like there's so much more to horror than some people who don't understand it give it credit for. It really does connect and bond people. For you, with this specific film, The Silence of the Lambs, what was it about it when you saw it that just stayed with you through all these years? And now look, you own this home, but what is it about the film that stuck with you as a fan?
That's an awesome question, and you really touched upon a number of very valid points. The same with me. Like, I grew up watching horror in general. Same thing. Literally, my dad. Not a lot of censorship in my house. I was 6 years old, and he was carting me out to the nearest, the latest installment of Halloween, or Friday the 13th, or Nightmare on Elm Street, or the Blob remake, or whatever was out that week. He was a big fan. So horror movies, action movies, whatever it was, cinema was a big part of like our bonding experience growing up, and something we did a lot together. So, specifically for Silence, I remember, going to the movies with him and, seeing the movie. Still pretty young, and certainly, different than say a Jason movie or a Michael Myers movie, but it was such a different movie, but it stuck with me. I hadn't really been exposed to more a psychological, horror in that way yet, as I was still pretty young. And maybe I didn't really totally grasp all of it, but it certainly stuck with me. And, as I got older and through repeated viewings and stuff like that, I just realized what iconic characters that specifically, Buffalo Bill and Clarice and Hannibal all really were. It was always kind of interesting to me that, if you look at the amount of time on screen that say Buffalo Bill or Hannibal are actually on screen in whatever, a 2-hour-ish, length movie, they really don't have a ton of screen time, but the characters that, Anthony Hopkins and Ted Levine play are absolutely iconic and have stood the test of time, because their performances were so powerful and the characters are such standout, memorable characters. And back in '92, it swept the Oscars. But 30 years later, Silence of the Lambs is just as relevant as it was when it debuted.
Walk me through the different packages or things that people can take part in if they want to come to the home.
Oh, for sure. So, our primary focus is overnight stays. Basically, it's a private rental, a private vacation rental. It's in the style of an Airbnb, meaning that we're not a bed and breakfast. You don't rent a room at Buffalo Bill's house and you don't share space. So, another couple isn't staying with, in the room down the hallway or anything like that. So it's totally private. You rent the whole house and the property. We cater to up to 8 guests very comfortably in 4 bedrooms. And it's always a private stay for your entire group. We have beautiful views of a river. It's a riverfront property. So right on the front porch, which was a filming location, the famous front doorway, you look right out and see the Youghiogheny River. It's absolutely gorgeous in the warmer months. And we have a fun area upstairs called Buffalo Bill's Playhouse, which is kind of a retro 70s, 80s rec room. We have like 10 arcade games, and we have a pool table and 500 DVDs and VHS tapes to choose from to watch. Physical media forever. I'm all about, DVDs and VHS. But our other format is guided tours. We offer 2-hour guided tours where you get the filming location, history of the home. You get to recreate the scenes yourself, get in the well, go in our workshop of horrors, and learn a little bit of history about what was shot here, which is really fun. I've been operating that for about 6 months and will continue to do so moving forward. And we also offer the home up as a on-location filming opportunity. So if you're looking to shoot professionally, you can rent the house out for your project. And lastly, we use it as an event space. So if you're having a special event like a birthday party or an anniversary celebration, we do have 2 acres of property. So, if you want to do something in the yard, we can pretty much accommodate your request.
Now, for people who do want to come for a tour, or they want to stay, how far out do they need to set that up, especially if they want to stay? And how often do you do the tours, and how does that all work in terms of scheduling that?
Yeah, so our primary focus is the overnight accommodations, the overnight stays. We can host up to 8 guests at once very comfortably. You can check us out at buffalobillshouse.com. It has all the information, rates and whatnot and things like that. Again, it is a totally private experience when you stay. The guided tours are limited throughout the year. We do a handful per year. It's not a place you can just stop in and get a tour. Mostly because I'm not actually in the region. I come into the area specifically to do the tours. But we do announce all that information. You can find it on buffalobillshouse.com. I think we're going to end this year with doing 7 weekend tours. So once every month and a half, we do a tour, and we'll do them Friday through Sunday with multiple time slots available. And you basically just pick out your tour time slot and come on by and have some fun, get your tuck on. People looking for information, our website's a great option. It's buffalobillshouse.com. gives you info on the overnight stays and the tours and all that, give you pictures and video tours and stuff like that. But of course, we have a full social media presence. We're on Instagram and Facebook. You can find us at Buffalo Bill's House. On the Twitter and TikTok platforms, we're on at our handle is at Buff Bill's House, BUFF Bill's House, Buff Bill's House. And you can also give us a call if you have questions about anything we chatted about, stays or tours or any other thing you might want to chat about. Our number is 1-833-BUFF-BILL.
So can you take us around and show us a little of the home?
For sure, absolutely. So I'll start actually where we've been sitting the whole time. I chose this very specifically. So right behind me, this is the famous curio. We're in the dining room right now at Buffalo Bill's house. And this is the very curio that Buffalo Bill pulls his business cards out of, right? And right here, I'll open this. We call this the business card drawer. So we'll get mobile for a minute. So the business card drawer, we actually keep the business cards inside. And this is where Bill opens it up and Jody pulls her gun on him and he throws him up in the air and runs away and makes a dash out. So I'll give you guys a little video tour of it. Here, let me get this level here, kind of see. So they shot extensively in here, which is cool. With Jody. Jody stood right there in the foyer, in the foyer doorway to the dining room. That's where she stood and pulled the gun on him. And as we go into the foyer, that is the famous front door right there. It's the one Bill famously peers out of. It is the original door to the movie. He invites Jodie Foster inside, and as she interrogates him about the murders. And he says he's going to help her with some business cards. We have a fun theatrical standee, original from 1991 on display over there. And here's our life-size Hannibal that I was talking about earlier. He's the life-size animatronic.
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
So Hannibal does about a dozen lines from the movie, and he's generally in a motion sensor setting, so he scares the crap out of you when you enter for your overnight stay. So that's kind of fun. I will move it along to as we walk through the dining room again. There's another little peek at the dining room. Let me get out of the way here from the other way. Also shot extensively. And then here in the kitchen, this is the kitchen at Bill's house. You can kind of see it looks different than it did in the movie. It's been renovated since. It was actually done specifically for filming, how they made it look. So they changed it quite a bit. But what everyone wants to see, this is the famous basement door. This is where Bill goes down into the basement where they shot with Clarice and with Jodie Foster and Ted Levine. I'm going to try to do this without falling down the steps here. Hold on. So this stairwell is where Jodie Foster and Ted Levine chase each other with their guns out and make a mad dash to the rest of the basement where his sewing station was and everything. So I will show you this. This is what we call the Workshop of Horrors. It's my set that I built. Should look familiar to all Silence fans. And if you hear, I don't know if you could hear that song, but we got a motion sensor speaker down here that plays Goodbye Horses. So that comes on automatically, the famous song that Bill dances to. Let me straighten this out here best I can. So it's the vintage Singer sewing machine right here with Benjamin Raspel's head in the jar. All props replicated from the film. The big American flag, just like Bill had up. Of course, the disco ball. And the mannequins, all the female mannequins down here. And you'll see all the different sewing accoutrements and dress forms positioned around. And we'll go this way. And there's Bill's kimono and wig. That's the interactive aspect of Buffalo Bill's house. So you get to put that on and recreate the scenes and get your tuck on. This is the well at Buffalo Bill's house. Welcome. There it is. So it is an absolutely real installation. You can see we have the lotion in the basket. Let me turn off our audio here for a minute. There we go. So it was built in partnership with the Tom Savini Special Effects Makeup Program at the Douglas Education Center. And you can see it's about 4 feet deep, give or take. So it's safe to get in. So you can actually get in and recreate the photographs yourself. We've got, let's see how close I can get here. Oh, we've got the hanging work light in the basket filled with lotion, of course. And here's little Precious. There she is. Say hi, Precious. Precious. She's so cute. There we go. So yeah, people get right inside and the bucket raises and lowers. So you could do all the lines from the movie. It's really fun. And in the back here, we have some other props. We have the hose spooled up. It rubs the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again. We turn around and we even have the Catherine Martin cosplay on this side, the wig and long johns she wore. So a lot of people like to put that on and have some fun with it, you know. Kill this for a sec here. There we go. See about that. And then one more shot of the well. What do you think?
It looks really good.
Yeah, it's even better in person down to the bloody fingernails, just like it had in the movie. So I'll give you a quick walk through here. This is the parlor room at Buffalo Bill's house. Let me see here. There we go. You can kind of see some of the dressing we have here. The Bill Skins 5th poster. Vintage church organ. And this is the living room at Buffalo Bill's house. You'll see some Bill throw pillows and stuff like that. Lots of artwork. There you go. And we're going upstairs now. It's our master bedroom right there. And all the bedrooms are themed after one of the major characters. So this is the Buffalo Bill suite right here. And that's the Hannibal room over there. And I'll take you guys upstairs. We got 2 more. We'll go upstairs. So this is the playhouse I was telling you about, the retro rec room arcade. Ta-da! So we have a fully functional 10-game arcade up here, all vintage games to hang out and play. I'll let you kind of see what it looks like from a wide. It's where people hang out over there. And we got a pool table over there. Of course, a nice big flat screen and 500 DVDs and VHS tapes to watch when you come stay. Without the support of the film enthusiast community, Bill's wouldn't be able to do what it does. So, if you like what you see, tell a friend, come stay, help us get the word out. And, we hope to have you at Buffalo Bill's house real soon.